We have been getting so many questions lately through social media and in the office that it's time we just made this video to clear up a whole bunch of stuff about colic. Yes, you guys have been asking and it's time we made this video. So really when the questions come down to it, we're talking about colic, we're talking about digestive issues, we're talking about those babies that just don't seem very comfortable, or the real rigid, stiff babies, all kind of wrapped into one. Those are what the questions have been around, and it's time to dive into it. Just one thing for you guys to know, that this is something that's certainly common, but it's not normal. Depending on what research you read, up to 50% of kids will be affected with this, but it doesn't mean it's normal. This colic issue is something that's very, very widespread, and it's something that causes a lot of sleep loss for parents and for families, a lot of stress in the home that we're seeing when these kids aren't sleeping and they're really uncomfortable and they're just not themselves. A lot of stress with these parents. And if we take it even to the extreme side, is that colic can be the leading cause of child abuse in homes and shaking baby syndrome, because parents and caregivers just lose their cool. So this isn't a little issue that we're talking about, it's a big issue. If we tend to get beyond this child that's sick and unhealthy, to the family that's not sleeping and stressed, to the fact that physical harm may come to this, it's a pretty big issue. Not to mention that this colic digestive stuff that's going on is a warning sign that something more is going on. And really where it starts, if we back up a little bit farther, is really just in the birth process. 60 to 90 pounds of axial traction or pulling is what happens when a baby is born under normal circumstances in this country today. When you add C-sections or long labors or difficult deliveries, that number actually goes up. And what happens is that during that 60 to 90 pounds of pulling or axial traction, it's really affecting two spots in particular. One is right up near the base of the skull where that pulling is happening with that baby, and two is right between the shoulder blades in that back ear where the twisting is happening to get the rest of the shoulders and the baby out. Now it's interesting because those two areas in the body, there's some neurological centers there that control an awful lot. But really that's what we're starting to see up here, is we're seeing a lot to do with ears, eyes, nose, throat, sinus stuff, which we'll cover on a next video when we talk about ear infections and stuff like that. But it starts to affect the gut and digestion on these kids through something called the vagus nerve, and how it really gets into this parasympathetic and gut issues. But what happens is that as this gut and stuff starts to get affected, everything slows down. And when that slows down in there, what we have is a couple things happening. Number one is a lot of times they'll start being irked back up through a lack of control in that esophageal sphincter, and we'll see that reflux thing start to happen with kids. Two is it slows down that digestion, which makes digestive issues show up, either constipation, irregular stuff, or just a lot of pain when they're trying to go to the bathroom. The other thing that happens with that too is that when you see a lot of this smooth muscle digestive pain, is when everything's slow in there, that's when we get these really colicky episodes, whether it's the same time each night or it's the same amount of time after a meal, is you're getting these really, really painful, rigid babies where they just rigid up or their knees come up, and it's just, you can see that these babies are in pain. And that's really where the stuff starts to go with these things. It's all stemming back to these neurological centers that are being almost misfiring in there, that's causing these babies to show this sign of uncomfortability. And this is probably very new information for you, but I'm telling you, we see it every single day in our practice. Is that Strive Chiropractic, we're very different. But one of the things that makes us very different is over 40% of our practice is pediatrics. So when we talk about these issues, we're seeing 4, 5, 6, 9 of these issues every single day. So you're not alone out there. But when that happens is it all starts to back up and everything starts to go a little raw and wrong with these kids. And you might be out there thinking, wow, that sounds like my child, or wow, that sounds like our house, or geez, my neighbor was just talking about this, or my coworker was talking about their child. This sounds like the exact same thing. What can we do about it? And that's a great question, because right now, everything that I just described to you up to this point is a theory. We have no idea if that's what's going on with your child. We have no idea if this is why these things are happening. And the only way we know is to get checked. And one of the things that's hard with Dr. Joe and Dr. Lynn and myself is that when we reach out to these people and people have these questions and we make these videos, the hard part is when people sit back and go, wow, that's really great information, but don't do anything about it. And it's not for us, it's for you guys, because we can't help you through this video. We can't help you with a reply to an email that we send you. The only way we can help you is if we get that child in here to get them checked. The great thing about our process is that it's just $47 for that first visit. What we do is we sit down with you and go knee to knee. We dive through the entire history of these kids. How long has this been going on? What was the birth like? Prior to that, even what was the pregnancy like up to that point, and how did they get to this point of what's going on. Next is we don't guess, we test. And we're going to take them through a whole set of tests to make sure that this is something that is really affecting them. And that bulk of that test comes onto our scans. The scanning technology is amazing, and what it does is it just maps out all those nerve roots as they go through the spine. So we can see if there is irritation in those neurological centers in that top part of the neck or in that gut area through that mid-back. And even better about the scans, it's putting nothing in. It's just reading what's coming out. So there's no radiation or anything like that. Parents can just hold their child through the whole scan. It's really easy, really simple, just kind of rolls up their back. But it allows us not to guess with what's going on. It allows us to see it. So when we can sit down and see those scans and show you exactly what's happening, it allows us to answer 4 questions for you. And that's what's going on with your child. Is there something in here with these scans and these neurological centers that's explaining why this is happening with your child? And if it is, great, here's how we can help you, and here's the game plan to get through it. So you can be on the other side of this and look back and go, wow, I'm really glad we did something. And if not, if we don't see any of that going on, we can help you make that next step on what to do next if that answer isn't here. If we can't help you here, we'll help you find that next step of who can. But when we see that happening, and when this is your child that's out there, most of the time we're seeing these neurological centers being disturbed. We can see it on the scans, and we sit down with you. We have a game plan on how to get through this with your child. So just to note, guys, if you're out there watching and this sounds like you, or this sounds like that neighbor, that coworker you're talking about, please share this video with them. Tell them what's going on. Let's get them in here. Let's stop talking about it. Let's take action. Let's do something about it. So that's the first part. Let's do it. The next part of this becomes the adjustment. And some people out there may be thinking, oh my gosh, an adjustment for my baby or my child, I can't imagine what that looks like, or it just freaks me out thinking about it. Well, just so you guys know, it's fingertips for the whole adjustment process. The most pressure we use when checking the spine is like checking the ripeness of a tomato. Very, very gentle. A lot of times when we see newborn babies in here, they don't even wake up for their adjustment. But if they do, it's just like we're playing with them in there. Very, very, very gentle. And it's very easy. Very commonly after the very first adjustment, parents will notice sleeping better. They'll notice that rigidness kind of relax in there. And the great thing about seeing kids and seeing babies like this is they've only had this problem for a little bit of time. It doesn't take real long to get through it, which is fun for us. It's fun for parents to see those results quickly, and it's just something you should do about it. So guys, if you're out there watching, please know that this is something that's not common, or that it is common, but it's not normal. 2, there's very specific reasons that this is going on, and we know how to check it in there. And finally, let's do something about it. Our first visit is $47. If you're watching this, please take action. Please pass it on to someone who can use this information, and let's get these lives of these kids and these families changed for the better. So I thank you guys for checking this out. There'll be plenty of information following this video on what you can do about it, phone numbers, emails, all that kind of thing. But please don't sit back. Please take action. Can't wait to meet you guys. Take care.